Hey, this is Red Beach from Winger, and may the rock be with you. Hello,
Red Beach, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Hi, Troy.
Mate,
All
what's
right.
absolute pleasure to talk to you.
Wow. Thanks.
I've been a fan since the start, so this is amazing.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that. Makes
Well,
me feel good.
no worries. Welcome to May the Rock be with you, Red Beach. It's an absolute pleasure, as I just said.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
17 years it has been since Winger were here. So I was
Okay.
at the show. It was phenomenal. Now, you're here for the first time and the last time with the original band, which is nuts, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what are we in store for at these shows?
Well, there's two kinds of people. There's people that have seen Winger and there's people that haven't seen Winger. So if you've seen Winger before, then then you get what it is. If you haven't seen Winger, there's kind of this stigma to Winger. Like, oh, Winger, it's just gonna be like, like stupid big hair or the spandex. No, no, no. We're kind of like if Toto were a little heavier. And I'm not saying we're as good as Toto because I just saw them, but it's that kind of a thing where it's all just kind of the best musicians
Mm.
that there are. And the music is very high quality, really, it's progressive, yet it's big choruses, giant vocals, killer playing, like the best drummer you've ever seen, great guitar. There's three guitar players, so it's kind of like a Leonard Skinner jam in some situations. It's not what you think if you haven't seen the band. If you've seen the band, it's possible you haven't seen it with Paul Taylor and Johnny Roth,
Mm.
and that's a whole nother level. It's like a massive wall of guitar and keyboards um, with all the hits of Winger you may have heard, and then there's such cool stuff like Rainbow and the Rose that we do that's you might not expect if you don't know the band. And also when you got a singer like Kip Winger, you kind of can't go wrong.
Yep, that's completely fair. The thing is, though, with a farewell tour, when you have to put a set list together, like normally you'd go out on a new album, you tour the new album, but when you're doing a farewell, how are you doing that? Is it much harder to put a set list together for this sort of tour than previous?
Not really.
Fair
I
enough.
mean, Kip will look at if he's got some comments from people that are requesting a certain song. Maybe we'll throw it in. We're at the point now where we know every song.
Yeah,
So, Kip just calls it out an hour before the show. Oh, what are we playing tonight? Let's do this, and this, and this. I got a request for this. I always like to make sure we do Rainbow in the Rose because that's my
yeah,
favorite one live. The band loves that one. We have to play all the six hits. So there's seven songs right there.
yeah, true.
So the other songs are uh kind of they switch around. Um there's some songs that we love but are really too hard to play, like too hard for Kip to sing every night
Mm,
that are just really up there. Like some of the songs on Seven are insanely high to sing
yep.
and he'd blow his voice out if he did that.
No.
So, we get a set list that we like, and maybe we'll throw something else in there for the fans that may request something on
Yeah,
that.
cool. Looking forward to that. Now,
But
when
since
you
we
have
haven't
the,
been there in so long, we
that's
could play
right.
whatever the fuck we want. It doesn't matter. It won't
Yeah,
be, you know.
4 hour
Anyway,
set. It's going to be awesome.
yeah. There you go.
When you have the original lineup back together and you've got all the guys firing, is there just something that works and sounds better when it's the original band, what you're used to, what you had at the start? Obviously, you had your members along the way, but does it just make everything just right when it's perfect when everyone's there?
There's so much more we can do when we have Paul and Johnny.
Yeah.
So when you do Headed for a Heartbreak, there's a keyboard with two guitars doing those rhythms, which
Hmm.
is massive. For years and years and years, it was just Johnny Roth, and he would have to play bass. So there'd only be one guitar on Headed for a Heartbreak, and the song would suffer as a result. So, the familiar things with all original members. I mean, it's always I'm Joe Perry to Kip's Steven Tyler,
Yeah.
and I just feel so comfortable with him and he with me, and we just laugh the whole time. We tell jokes up there, and
Cool.
that's what one thing people love about the band is the camaraderie that you'll see of guys that have been playing for so long together.
Yeah, which is perfect. Now, it has been a while since you've been here. You a few years ago with Whitesnake, but with Winger a long time. Do you have a favorite memory of coming to Australia?
My favorite memory of coming to Australia was with Alice Cooper when I first started touring with them. We did an Oz. We opened for Ozzy in Sydney at this. I think it was Sydney at this giant stadium, and there was some thing going on. I mean, I saw there was a stage up in the audience where they had dancers who lit themselves on fire, and I thought it was a fire. I'm like, they're on fire! There's a fire! And then a dragon came out from the middle of the audience and blew fire out of its nose. And I just thought, this is my first time in Australia, and I just thought, I love this place. I really like this place. And people would wake me up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, because I checked in under Red Beach at the hotel,
Hmm.
and I'd say hello and Rib, I like your music. Come on down and have a beer, Rib. And so uh, I never did, but I always that was my um, impression of the Australian people, that they're just party animals. And also, when I recently spent like 5 days there, because Kip, not Kip, but David canceled the shows, or somebody canceled the shows,
Hmm.
and so I was there for like 5 days, and everyone's so nice there. They're just everyone is just really, really nice people, and the food is so good, and everything's so beautiful there, and so clean. There's
Hmm.
no garbage anywhere. They're just smarter people anywhere where I was.
I'll take that. We'll take that. We love that. Thank you very much. We appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome.
Now, up on stage, you've been doing this a long, long time. We get to see you do what you do. But from your perspective, what's your favorite thing to see from the stage looking at us?
When you say us, what do you mean?
The crowd. When you look at the crowd, what's your
Oh,
favorite thing to see?
that's easy. My favorite thing is when I will see a person moving with my solo.
Mm,
So I'll be playing a solo and holding a note, and I'll look and I'll see somebody going, who's right with me. And then there's a little pressure because I'm like, well, if I fuck up right now, like this person's definitely going to hear it. So I try and do the best solo that I can do when I see someone just completely getting off on my guitar solo.
cool.
But that is my favorite thing to see, someone really into and it's almost like I'm communicating with them when they're kind of in a zone and hearing every note that I do and really getting off on it. That's what it's all about right there, is
Beautiful.
communication through
Nice.
through it makes you feel so good too.
It certainly does. Now let's talk about the farewell. It's a word that's thrown around by certain bands that sometimes doesn't mean what it means. But we'll talk about this with you guys. What does the end look like for the band, and why was now the right time?
Well, it's Kip Winger. The band's called Winger. He doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, it's a pain in the ass for him he has to work really hard to sing that stuff so perfectly. He doesn't just do it. He has to warm up for an hour before, and he has to warm down afterwards.
Hmm.
He takes care of his voice. He gets embarrassed when he messes up 3 notes. If he has trouble on any song, it's very humiliating for him. And his heart is really in the classical music.
Yeah.
And he's really shown quite an affinity for it, and he's having real success, which is a very impressive thing for a rock musician to make a successful transition into classical music. He's been nominated for a Grammy.
Mm.
He just wrote a song for the Nashville Symphony Orchestra that they're performing on May 9th. That to him is the penultimate uh, goal that he's had for so many years. Um, and he just wants to kind of get out of Dodge and move to Paris and you know say goodbye to that whole thing. If someone offers Kip $100,000 to do a show with Winger, he'll do it.
Mm.
And he's also saying, never say never. But the odds of us ever coming to Australia or Japan again are super, super thin. We're not really making any money on this. It's,
Mm.
we're doing it. We're going to break even if we're lucky. We're doing it to say goodbye. It's too freaking expensive for
Yeah.
us to get there, and the hotels and the flights. Um, we're playing clubs here. We're not doing arenas. So So this will be the last time that you see Winger in Australia. I don't think, maybe unless some oligarch, some billionaire in Australia goes like, I want to have Winger, I do. And,
You're very good at
party.
that.
No, I'm terrible, terrible. That was more British than Australian.
It's brilliant. When Kip came to you with the idea, though, and sort of said, "Hey, I want to wrap this up," what were your feelings?
Shit. That was my feelings. Like,
Mm,
oh shit, I got to figure out something. Um, and Paul Taylor came to me and he said, Brad, don't worry. Like someone's going to call. I've already had two calls from other bands. Um, we're talking about like a Red Beach band, kind of a
mm,
la George Lynch. Um, the biggest thing in America right now of touring bands, uh, even really, definitely as big as Winger. Winger's doing really well in America right now, which just
awesome.
makes it for me is a shame because I'm finally making a lot of money with Winger. It's
Yeah,
doing really well. It's taken us forever to get to this point, and then Kip is quitting while he's ahead, and I understand that. I know I love him dearly, and this is what he wants. But uh, the thing that's big is the tribute bands,
mm,
Van Halen tribute, Journey tribute. They're selling out. And if I would just do the songs from the bands that I've been in, Dokken, Night Ranger, Alice Cooper, Winger, Whitesnake, there's a whole set right there of
yeah,
just all hits that, Red Beaches 80s rock and roll extravaganza. There you go.
I'm into it.
Um, that's a possibility. I could just go Red Beach and do like a lynch mob thing, be Beach Mob. That doesn't sound as cool, but something like that.
I'm into it. Now, is there a final date? Is there a final show set at the moment for Winger?
We're talking about it. It hasn't been announced yet, so I can't say anything.
No, that's all right. Just as long as there's
Yeah,
something in the works. Now, you just
yeah.
told me about that. Now, after almost 40 years as a band, a couple of breaks in between, is there anything on your list of things to do as a band, as Winger, that you'd love to do that you might just get the chance to do before it's done?
Oh, I don't know. Um, I mean, whatever that would be could probably never happen. That would, I want to tour with Aerosmith.
Right.
Not
Okay.
going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't think of anything. I'm
That's all
sorry.
right. No,
We've
sometimes
done
there
a
is,
lot.
sometimes there isn't. Like,
Yeah.
Aerosmith were a great one. Steven Tyler bowed out gracefully as well. He sort of said, "It's time for me," and thanks very much. I thought that was very, very good. Like,
Me too. Me
sad but
too.
good. I only saw them once. But that's a shame. But
I saw him a million times.
no, they
Big.
only came here like twice ever.
That's too bad.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you guys. There you go. Like, anyway, now
Yeah.
over the time in the life of the band, there were some breaks in the middle, as we just said. In having those breaks, what did that allow you to do as an artist in the time away to bring back to the band with subsequent records along the way?
Winger records are my riffs and Kip's writing. Nothing changed. It was all. I mean, it was Winger. Let's see. It was Pull. The next one was Winger 4, and that I didn't do shit on that record. That's Kip Winger. Kip had a vision. It was for the troops. That was Kip. And then after that one, that was me. He said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "A heavy metal rock record."
Hmm.
Um, which he was totally open for. But we didn't break up. Uh, our albums sales halted. Our the touring, we were touring, and people just stopped coming.
Hmm.
We had tour was canceled. Beavis and Butthead came out.
Yeah.
Metallica throwing darts at Kip. It was over overnight. I had a big house I had just bought 8 months prior in Florida on the lake that I had to sell and
Oh,
moved back to freaking Pittsburgh. And I lived selling guitars for a year.
wow.
And then thank God I got Alice Cooper. And the only reason I got Alice Cooper is because I could sing. Warren DeMartini was there. There's like 20 guys that wanted that gig that
Oh,
were
wow.
there. And I was nervous as hell. But because I went poison, I got it.
Yeah.
Alice just said, you got it. And
Oh,
so that was that. Um, but so yeah, the way that Kip and I write has always been the same. Nothing changed from my experience with Alice, in the interim.
No, fair enough. Now, new music, we had Seven out a couple of years ago. I gather there's no more music coming. There's no singles. There's nothing to say goodbye. There's nothing. No, that's all right. Didn't think there
There's
was.
no way.
No.
He is classical world, man. He's he wakes up at 7 a.m. and he goes to the gym and then he's writing and he's for the piccolos and the here, this is for the timpani.
I
That's
mean,
that's
that's
and
such a
that makes
great
him
vision.
happy. That's what makes him happy. He
All
doesn't
right.
want to sit in a room with me for a year trying to figure out a cool song.
That's cool. I just love that image. Looking back over your career, it's very easy to say what can change over time. For you, though, what's the one thing that's always remained the same about Winger?
Integrity, musical integrity. Musicians from other bands come up to me and say, "Dude, that record is just off the charts. How do you guys do it?"
Hmm.
Um, Most rock bands have guys like me in it who are just, good at what they do. Like I'm good at playing guitar and I'm good at coming up with riffs, but I didn't go, study with people from Juilliard and learn, you know, everything there is to know about arranging. Like
Hmm.
this Kip arranges for, orchestras. So when he hears my guitar riffs, he gives me, options. We can go to E, we can go to A flat, we can go a half step up. Um, so let's try all those. Which do you like better? And I'm like, well, the A flat is the, and then that's how we get the next session and it just goes bang, 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 bang. The first day we met, we wrote Madalaine 17 and Time to Surrender.
Wow.
And I hated him before that. Bo Hill put us in a room together and I wanted to kill him. I'm like, I do not want to write with Kip Winger. I'd never written a song anyway.
Hmm.
But Bo heard my riffs and said, you need an arranger. I'm like, God, not Kip Winger, please not Kip Winger. And threw us in a room together. And then he was my hero. I remember getting on the train to Hoboken going, I have just met the greatest man on the planet,
Wow.
and because of Kip Winger, that's what sets Winger apart from the other bands, and the other bands know it. They know that that guy's a freaking genius.
That's amazing. I can't wait for these shows, man. You just talking it up like that, it just makes me more excited to come and see these shows. I don't know why. It's just going to be so much fun.
Thank you, Troy.
No worries at all. Now, if there was ever a documentary or something to be made about Winger, what would you want it to be called?
uh, oh, anything I say will get crucified. Um, you know, the death of the 80s.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, um, misunderstood.
That's true for you guys. It's like you just said, it's completely true.
It
But
really is. Yeah.
we'll leave it at that one. What I love about you guys is there's always a thing for me. I love bands' third albums. I don't know what it is. I feel like they've found their stride. I love In the Heart of the Young. It's amazing. But Pull, oof, Pull is the album for me, right?
Most people say that to me. I get that all the
Yeah,
time.
the best.
My
Warrant had
favorite.
Dog Eat Dog, Jovi had Slippery and Wet, Poison had Flesh and Blood. These were all really big albums for these guys, and they're my favorites as you go along. But an album like Pull, when that came out, that completely flipped it for me in terms of what you guys did. And just I went, these guys are a really, really good rock band. You know what I mean? Like, so thank you for Pull. I just wanted to say that.
Thanks. That was our exit from Bow Hill. Bow Hill, it was there was a curriculum, and you needed to have hits,
Mm,
at least three, preferably four, and so that was the main focus. And so once we got rid of him finally, even though he still got all our money, um, we got Mike Shipley in, who was just this brilliant engineer, and Kip could do whatever he wanted. He was free to do what he wanted. So I mean, the departure from that real 80s sound was all due to that the reins were taken off Kip.
mm,
And we had a $300,000 budget, which
helps.
really helped. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The sound of that record is really impeccable.
Yeah. You play a lot from that, don't you? You play a few from that in the set.
Well, we haven't even figured out what the set's going to be. Sometimes it depends the guitar they give us. We rent a guitar from them, and if it's playable, then we can do the drop D songs like Junkyard Dog and Proud Desperado.
Hmm.
But Yeah, we usually do something. We'll probably do Spell 'Em Under. That's a beautiful song.
Okay.
Yeah, and probably Junkyard Dog, which
Yeah.
we love that song.
Look forward to that. Now, what I do with everyone is I get them to look ahead to the future with a prediction. So I want you to finish this sentence for me. By the end of 2025, Winger will.
Be done. Um, yeah, I mean that was an easy one. Thanks, Troy. Um, yeah, I mean, that's I mean that really is kind of it. I mean, 2025. That's we're supposed to be technically done then. And like I said, Kip said never say never. Maybe I'll do one show here and there if the money's right. But I mean, honestly, he just wants to move to Europe and write Stravinsky. And
And
God bless him. He
yeah,
he
good luck.
deserves it.
It's going to be fun. I remember flying over to, I went to the first Rocklahoma in 2007
Wow.
to see, all these bands that never ever would come to Australia. And within months, two of the bands that were on the bill came back over here. We're like, you guys and Rat. And we're like, oh man, I mean, amazing. Got to see you within a few months of each other.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
a 3-day phenomenon over there for Rocklahoma. That was awesome.
Yeah, we've played that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's a great tour. We're doing M3 in Baltimore, which is great for me because I can drive there. I live in Pittsburgh, and it's a 3-hour drive.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, so I love it. So I don't have to rent a guitar. I can actually bring my own, which is nice.
Red Beach, if I don't get the chance in Sydney to say it in person, I just wanted to thank you for the music and thank you for Wingo. You're one of my favorite bands, like I said, so this is a pleasure. I'd love to shake your hand in Sydney, and I hope I get to.
I hope you get to too, Troy. Tell the security guy, hey, Reb said we could say hi or something. I don't think there's probably gonna be 100 people there. So,
We'll
you
work it
know,
out.
yeah,
Mate,
I'm
thank you
sure.
so much for your time. Absolute pleasure. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks a lot, Troy. Nice
Thanks, mate.
talking to you.
Bye bye.